what's going on in her life at this point for the future. But I have not seen her in months, and I felt the need to make this video for her and for all of you that have been supportive of us as a family, all of you who have signed the petition. And I'm doing it two ways because I'm not too computer savvy. I'm doing one video on my laptop and I'm doing one live stream video. So I'm just gonna rest this live stream next to the laptop screen, and um, here's my story. This is Cassandra. This is my pride and joy. She was 9 months old in this picture. And in this picture, it's from February 2020. She is 3 years old in this picture. And I decided to wear the same shirt that I was wearing the day that this picture was taken, which I'll explain later. February 25th, 2020. This is Cassandra Amina Prasad. I didn't know quite exactly how to make this video, but I figured I might as well go chronologically and try to keep it as simple as possible because a lot of people don't know what's going on, and it's about time everybody knew. It's about time everybody knew the fight that I've been having to put up with just to have equal rights to my child. In August of 2014, I got married in Seattle to someone that I had met on the internet, Facebook. She friend requested me, solicited me, said that she was interested in me, but I won't go into too many details. We met finally. She came to the United States and we got married. Well, the long distance relationship turned into man and wife. And in November 2014, just a couple months after, we went and adopted Lucy, our dog. In December 2014, then came Charlie, our cat. Well, I don't even know where or what details to include, but this video is for all those that signed the petition. It's for the Justice of Peace of the Serene in Freiburg. It's for the Justice of Peace of the Riviera in Vaud, Switzerland, specifically in Montreux, however they say it. It's for the curator, who is a DCPR law firm in Pulley, Vaud, Switzerland. Her name is Madame Radigari, Esquire. It's for the Court of Appeals in Freiburg. It's for the Lausanne Supreme Court in Vaud, Switzerland. It's for the Child Protection Services of Freiburg, and it's for the Child Protection Services of Vaud, specifically Montreal, and the respective caseworkers. I won't name any names because I don't need to go that far right now. Let's hope it doesn't have to come down to that. But I will be seeking attention from the media, trying to get this exposed, because the secrecy of Switzerland involves a lot more than their banking system. It involves prejudice and injustices. civil rights violations. And these civil rights violations cannot just keep going on and on as I fight the system internally, follow their rules, stick by their court orders, and they keep railroading me. I don't know if anybody knows that's a phrase in the United States. Where you're railroading somebody, it basically means that that person is up the creek, up the river without a paddle. They're breaking their own laws against my daughter and I. Swiss laws, international treaty laws, and laws of child protection set specifically by the United Nations, signed in November 1989. But before I go into all that, I was I was living as man and wife for about a year and a half, and then my wife at the time uh, wanted to return to Switzerland in December 2015 to visit family. They had some family issues, and she took Lucy with her with a return ticket to stay for 3 months. Within a week or two, in December 2015, uh, I received a phone call from our attorney who had been filing for spouse visa that she should not have left the country and now she's barred from returning. At the same time, that same week, I received a phone call from Layla, my wife at the time, saying that she was 4 to 5 weeks pregnant and that how she was going to have an abortion. And it was her reasoning was because now we were separated. And I explained to her that I spoke to the attorney and I'm going to file for your spouse visa and we're going to get the bar removed because she had overstayed her visa and now was barred from returning to the United States. 4 to 5 weeks pregnant, I told her, I said, keep Cassandra. I mean, not because we didn't know her name then, but I knew it was a girl. And I said, keep her. Let's keep her because we're going to be a family again. I've begun the filing process already with our attorney, Stephanie Ramos of Ramos Immigration Services in Linwood, Washington. And she began the whole process, the whole $11,000 process. And December 2015, I had to convince her not to have an abortion. I wanted Cassandra first. I loved Cassandra first. Well, immediately, I'm living in Seattle, Washington. She's in Freiburg, Switzerland. I had to do something that was correct. I never gave her an engagement ring. We just got married. So I said, you know what? Before Cassandra is born, her mom deserves an engagement ring for me to do this right, do this properly. I ran out in December 2015 and 2000 or early January 2017 looking for January 2016 looking for a diamond and a ring and put it together and got on a plane with Charlie, our cat. Charlie stayed with me, but he took the flight with me. We went to Switzerland, and from December 2015, I began taking care of my wife at the time because her mom kicked her out, or at least that's what she told me. She told me that her mom kicked her out when she found out that she was pregnant and having my child, and also gave me the impression my ex-wife now, my wife at the time, gave me the impression that how it was because of this mixed race baby or something like that. Messed up. So from December 2015 to February 2016, uh, I was paying for a couple of hotels, um, for them to have a place to stay in, my wife and my dog, Lucy. When I arrived, uh, I stayed for the month of February. I put the ring on her finger on Valentine's Day, February 14, 2016. Romantic, right? And I really am getting into too many details. I didn't want this video to be more than half an hour long, but uh, in a nutshell, I found her a place to live, an apartment, and it was temporary, but I had been paying the living expenses, food, and everything else uh, for some time now, a few months, and I continued to do so actually for 2 years, for the entire year of 2016 and 2017. But before I jump ahead, uh, I left, took Charlie back to Seattle at the end of February 2016, and then I, I I plunged into a state of depression because my wife, my expected child, uh, my family was trapped in Switzerland because of immigration issues. But there was still hope that they were going to come home. Nevertheless, I was still depressed. I couldn't stay away. I went back to visit for August 2016. I landed the first week of August and I stayed there for 2 months from August to September, the end of September 2016. I was there for Cassandra's birth. I was the only one at the hospital. I don't know why. I didn't know why at the time why no one else came to the hospital. Not her grandparents, her aunts, or uncles, nobody. I didn't know that my wife at the time was keeping Cassandra's birth a secret from the rest of the family. And for what reasons, I didn't know at the time. Now I do. However, Cassandra was born. I was there. She held my finger with her first breath. And I took care of her for 2 months. Of course, I wasn't breastfeeding, but I was doing everything else like a dad. And I left February 2016, March 2016. I left in September 2016 back for Seattle. October, November, December 2016. December 30th, I go back to Switzerland. Stayed for another 2 months, the entire whole year, New Year, uh, January 2017, February 2017. In January 2017, that's when this picture was taken. She was about 9 months old. And, lived, took care of her and everything, fed her, changed her, did everything for her, with her, and as a family. So I stayed there for May 2017, and then returned to the United States and began building her bedroom, her her bedroom in Seattle that she was supposed to come home to, and that didn't happen. Anyway, in August 2017, her mom began showing me less and less of her um, at this age, and I wasn't able to see her on Skype every day like I used to. And then eventually in November 2017, I find out from my mother-in-law that my wife was having an affair, and then everything made sense. I found out a lot of information from my mother-in-law, who said that there were a lot of things that were going on behind my back, actually. And the parental alienation campaign began. I began calling everybody in the world for help. I began This is just some of the paperwork. Some. The rest of it, eventually, after a year or so, I had to say I'm better off with PDF documents and started saving things on the computer. But there's another box up there too, about the same size. International Social Services, Swiss Central Authority, United Nations, Child Protection Services, U.S. Department of International Parental Child Abduction and Access Rights concerning the Hague Convention application. Everybody. And CPS, nobody would help. By January 2018, I find out by mail in French that came home to New York that I had charges against me for insults and threats, and that here's the separation order that says the mother has full custody and I have parental authority. And now the separation papers were going on. And when I looked at the date, it had been going on a year before. So even when I was there in May 2017, the separation had already been filed behind my back and I didn't even know about it. But anyway, uh, they put me through hell trying to get in contact with my daughter. The Child Protection Services didn't do anything about it. Uh, Nobody did anything about it. There was a court order in place by separation decree from the tribunal of Serene and Freiburg saying that how I had to give them 2 months notice before I come to see my daughter, and I could only see my daughter for 14 days a year. And I was prevented from going to see Cassandra. Again, ever since May 2017 all the way to August 2018. In August 2018, I arrived. Cassandra's file, my emails, my phone calls, all my communication was apparently in a file on somebody's desk, and nobody had touched it. When I arrived, that's when they started saying, "Oh well, you didn't announce your visit, you didn't tell us your call," and I did. I had email proof. Immediately, when CPS didn't want to create access rights, I went to an attorney's office and I found a lawyer in August 2018, and the attorney immediately filed for urgent measures with the Justice of Peace in Freiburg. Judge Gobet said, "Give the man his daughter for 7 days straight, no interruptions. Give the man his daughter." Uh, on a specific day and time to meet at CPS, my ex-wife didn't show up. She got a court order violation for that. She violated court orders for that. She didn't show up twice, and there were two violations. So she withheld my daughter from me. I ended up seeing Cassandra for a total of about 4.5 days during my 2 week stay in August 2018. But I made it for her second birthday. That was Cassandra's second birthday. I made it. It's kind of hard to explain all this stuff when it bounces around in your head all the time. To organize it, to tell somebody. But after I left there in August 2018, more and more false charges kept being filed against me. She filed a charge saying that how I threatened to kidnap Cassandra. I don't know where and when, but there was no proof. And I never threatened to kidnap Cassandra, but the prosecutor never informed me had a trial, prosecuted me, sentenced me without the right to a fair trial and attorney, and violated my rights. And the attorney, Miss, I would mention her name, but the attorney that I have dug up the case and basically took it to a higher level where she informed the prosecutor that they had violated international treaty laws, not only to try to make direct contact with me rather than through an attorney. They weren't supposed to contact, a municipality was not supposed to contact a citizen of another country directly. That was breaking the international treaty law, and then violating my civil rights was not giving me the right to a fair trial and an attorney. And nothing ever happened to the prosecutor, of course. You know, nobody gets in trouble over there. But it was dismissed. Nevertheless, one false charge after the next is kind of hard to keep up with it. But to this date, I have visited Switzerland 7 times to see my daughter. And no, I've never kidnapped her, tried to kidnap her, or had intention to kidnap her because, come on, 7 times? Let's not even go there. All I've been fighting for is equal rights, equal parental custody and authority to my daughter, which is actually legal and morally right. So now, or after August 2018, I go through hell to see Cassandra on Skype. The CPS in Freiburg was responsible for organizing the Skype visits. I'm supposed to see Cassandra 2 times per week for half an hour each session, give or take, whatever mood she's in. She's a baby. And for the entire year of 2018, I saw my daughter about 3.5 hours on Skype total, excluding the visit that I had to get on a plane and go around the world to actually see my daughter for 4.5 days. So all these restrictions were aided by the CPS. The judge passed the order for my daughter to be given to me. It was the mother didn't give my daughter to me, and there has been no penalties. So moving on, I go back now in May 2019. Actually, I'm forgetting something really important that happened in 2018. Before I ended up in Switzerland in August 2018, in May 2018, specifically May 12th, my door gets knocked down by Homeland Security and the Seattle Sheriff's Department saying that they're looking for drugs and whatever evidence they could find because they got a complaint that I am smuggling drugs internationally. I was an international drug smuggler living in Seattle, right? Now they had to make sure and place me in handcuffs, put me in the back of the cop car while there was a dozen cars inside of my driveway, ransacked, tore apart my house, destroyed everything. They found no evidence of no drug trafficking, none of that nonsense. It was after 4 hours they came and released me from handcuffs saying now they're sorry and blah blah blah. Now they found my medical marijuana authorization card on the table and that's about it. I was like, yeah, so that's prescription. That's Seattle we're talking about. It turns out that she had called the Seattle Sheriff's Department and told them that I was smuggling drugs to Switzerland and that I had intentions to smuggle drugs again to Switzerland, which was, my visits to go see my daughter. She tried to prevent me from going to Switzerland. And keep in mind, I was already depressed from before when we were still a family, when I was trying to uh, get them to come home, filing with USCIS and all these things. And then after the affair happened and she started cutting me off from my daughter, I basically plunged into the deep end of depression. I didn't have it in me to go and rebuild a home that had just been destroyed. I was living by myself. fighting to see my daughter by myself. I'm hoping that this video and the petition is going to get the attention of people that can help me, help us, because it's not fair what's happening to us. It's not fair what's being done to us. It's not fair what's being done to her. Today is her birthday and I don't get to see her. Um, so moving forward now in 2000, May 2019, I go there, and again the CPS aids her in not giving me my daughter for the full 14 days and allowing us access. More false charges are filed against me. I forgot what they are at this point. And that's after I left, After I come back to the United States, then I get these things in the mail. Let's say you got this charge filed against you, you got that charge filed against you, whatever. And I always have proof to prove otherwise. So May 2018, she gave me, May 2019, she gave me Lucy. And when I left Switzerland, a month later, I received mail that says that how I have a complaint filed against me for the kidnapping or the theft of the dog, my dog, that has a chip on her with my registration information, that has all the vaccination information and everything, all the records has it's my dog. Lucy is my dog. She was there temporarily to uh, give comfort and grow with Cassandra and these things so they could get used to each other. And after separation and divorce was filed, um, I kept asking for Lucy and Charlie. They were both there. Lucy and Charlie are family, they're not property. Anyway, May 2019, April 2019, I'm charged for theft of Lucy. And that takes, they don't have any statutory time frames, so it took forever. All of the charges from 2018, 2019, all got concluded this year in April 2020, but I'll get to that in a little while. So between May 2019 and February 2020 this year, approximately a year, all the time I kept trying to get to see my daughter on Skype. There would be many days I would wake up and get ready. With the time difference, I would have to be up either early in the morning or stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning in the middle of the night just to see Cassandra on Skype. And then I would be calling and nobody would answer because they give the parental alienator the authority and disregard the responsibilities of the CPS for making these arrangements. And it's repetitive. They just keep taking the mother's side, whatever she says. Because in May 2019, I had to surrender my passport. Because just before I got there, in April 2019, my ex tells the court that how I'm coming to kidnap Cassandra, that I have intentions to abduct her, and Cassandra's life is in danger. And the tribunal, the court, without no proof, no evidence whatsoever, took all these insinuations and made up a court order that said, check this out. Number one, an American citizen cannot go to the American embassy. Clear civil rights violation. They think they're above the law. United Nations law, international treaty law. To ban a United States citizen from going to the United States Embassy and taking his United States citizen daughter to the United States Embassy. So when I arrived in May 2019, I had to give them my passport at CPS, a ransom, in order to see my daughter and have exchange parental authority, God-given, natural law-given rights to my child. In 2019 May, I then began to realize how the system was one-sided there, and they took her insinuations and her accusations as evidence, not hearsay, but passing official court orders based on these insinuations that was only had no proof, but they were totally out there. Like all you had to do was look at the record to see this man has been coming to see his child forever, since the child was born. Really? He's had a few times opportunities to kidnap the child already. Why is he gonna start now? I mean, now that there are protective measures that I called for to put in place, protective measures for my daughter that I got in contact with you with the International Social Services in Geneva from Washington, in the United States. They contacted Geneva, and I was on both their cases, both International Social Services branches, asking them make sure my daughter doesn't get kidnapped, because in December 2017 she gets on Skype, my ex, and tells me that how I can disappear with Cassandra to Serbia. And it's ever since then, December 2017, I'm jumping back a little bit. Excuse me, December 2017, when she said that to me on Skype and hung up, that I lost it. Since then, I've been pretty sure that that's what she's going to do, because her affair began with somebody in Serbia, this other guy in Serbia, that my father-in-law arranged, by the way. It's a good set of people. Um, well, getting back to between May 2019, I then came to visit Cassandra now, February 2020, for 2 weeks. And once again, it was cut down by the CPS, who made this fluctuating schedule: 2 hours here, 3 hours there, 4 hours there. Then, oh, you know what? It's the weekend. We're gonna leave it up to the mother and you to make arrangements. This again, the same repetitive thing, putting the decision making in her hands, because on February 22nd, the weekend of February 22nd, I'm supposed to see Cassandra. I was streaming all this live, and I go there to the apartment to see my daughter, and she had been abducted for the weekend. She was gone for the whole weekend. And that was my time with my daughter. My attorney says that how I can't file anything. I mean, in the United States, that's abduction. That's my temporary custodial time, and you take my daughter away. Don't know where, no contact, wouldn't call, wouldn't answer phone or emails or anything for the whole weekend. And then on February 14th, Valentine's Day, CPS organizes where now me and my ex have to make arrangements. So she meets me at the CPS building. She takes me. She says, "Let's go to Domino Park right down there." I say, "Okay," because we're transitioning with Cassandra. It's not just like, we're gonna hand her off like a suitcase and then no. She needs to see mommy and daddy hang out a little bit and talk and stuff, and then she's okay. She gets distracted and has fun with me, and then she's okay with parting with mommy just after 5 minutes. That's it. She needs a little fun time with daddy. So we're over there sitting on the park bench. As we're no, but before we get to the park now, walk into the park. Now imagine this is the sidewalk. I park the car, I'm behind them, maybe 10, 15 feet. And then as we're walking, both of us in this direction, a fella comes right in front of both of them, staring at my ex, and keeps walking, and to a point where Cassandra's little quad hits hit him on the back of the leg. And I was like, really? And I'm seeing this like from 10, 15 feet back on the sidewalk, trying to catch up with them. So when we finally reach up together and sit on the park bench, uh, I said to her, I said, look at the nerve of this guy. All he had to do was stop for 1 second so the child could roll by in her quad, and he just kept walking, staring at you two. What's up with that? She didn't say anything. So we're sitting there talking. Cassandra is right there in between us, and some things her mom is translating in English for, I mean, in French for her, you know, and some things she understands from me in English. But 5 minutes pass, and I see this guy on the opposite side of the park just staring at us from the ping pong table area. And I say, "You see this guy over there? Why is he staring at us? Do you know him?" And she says, "No." She's sitting on a park bench right next to me. Cassandra's in the middle. Some time pass. Um, I'm playing with Cassandra right there by the bench. The guy moves from that section of the park over now to the adjacent section of the park benches and is sitting down there staring at us. Okay, I'm talking about like this. In a park where all his parents and kids, this is the only guy by himself in a trench coat with sunglasses, with an earpiece, okay, staring at us. So I asked her again. I said, "Look at this guy. She's next to me. He's in this direction." So I turned and I said, "Look at this guy. He keeps staring at us. You sure you don't know him? Is he a cop? You think he's a cop?" And she's like, "No, I don't think so. I don't know." Again, this is the third time now she's denying knowing this guy, right? A few minutes pass. I'm on the slides with Cassandra playing. I come back to the bench to sit down next to her because Cassandra wants to drink something. He is now on the park bench right next to us, 6, 8 feet away, and sitting there as if this is the park bench and staring at us. So I turned this way and I said, "What are you looking at? What's your problem?" I turned to her now to my left and I say, "You sure you don't know this guy? You think he's a cop?" I turn and say, "You a cop? Who are you?" Right? He don't say nothing, whatever. He says something about how he's from Syria. He's speaking another language. Well, all of a sudden, my ex now picks up Cassandra and says that they're going to the bathroom, which is on that direction of the park. And Cassandra left her quad by the slides where the kids can slide down and hit themselves on her toy. So I get up now, uh, walk in that direction. They go to the bathroom, disappear into the crowd. Uh, it's not a big park, but they got far enough. I picked up the quad, and when I turned around, I got hit in the face. I got sucker punched in the face. I mean, that's why I still have this. It's been months, it's not going away. But I tripped over the quad, I fell on the floor, this guy jumps on top of me, he fires punches away. I fight my way off, and as soon as I could stand up, all I could see is Cassandra next to me, screaming and crying and saying in French, "Daddy's hurt, daddy's hurt." I mean, like, it hit me right here, like, immediately. I was ready and just had to stop and grab her and move her away from the whole scene. And I gave her to her mother. I said, take her away from here," because it's after I pick her up, I realized that there was blood coming out of my mouth and my eye, and I got the blood on Cassandra. And even that, I don't even know if that traumatized her. But that was 4 times my ex says she didn't know this guy. And then I was assaulted. About 30 kids come gathering around asking me if I'm okay. Again, they're all speaking French or German or some other language, but they're like trying to help me. And they're holding the guy now. These kids, they're holding the guy because they saw what happened. Now I'm looking around and I see like 50 parents with cameras out and everybody's recording. So I didn't bother to do anything else but say, "Call the cops. Call the cops." The cops finally got there half an hour later, interviewed the guy, interrogated me as if I'm the one that started the whole thing. I kept telling them, "Why don't you ask the kids? Why don't you ask the adults? Why don't you ask the 80 witnesses around us right now?" Would you believe that they let him walk right out of the park, out of the didn't arrest him, nothing. Again, there goes that biasness, favoritism, injustice, maybe prejudice, who knows, right? The cops did not do nothing. I had to find my way to a hospital. I think some of you have seen the pictures already. I was in braces and all wired up and stuff, and my face was disfigured, and I was down for the night. They didn't want me to fall asleep because they said I have internal bleeding and I had to get CAT scan and X-ray and blah blah blah. At 9 p.m. on a hospital bed, right? The incident happened around 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon. 5 hours later on a hospital bed, my ex calls me and says that how that's her friend and he was just there at the apartment and he just left. As if to patronize me, I guess, you know. But I was so like woozy with what they had stuck me with. Well, no, they didn't stick me with it. They gave me something to drink to relieve pain and swelling and blood thinner, and it had me kind of woozy. But it's after I hung up the phone that I realized, wait a minute, she denied knowing this guy 4 times today, and she just called me to tell me that. Because on the phone, I was thinking that maybe this guy came by to intimidate her or something, and that's why she was calling me. No, I got off the phone and then realized with the slow motion of thought that I was in that, and don't forget my head had been banged around that day a little bit. I then realized that she knows the guy. They orchestrated it together. She picked up Cassandra to take her to the bathroom just in the nick of time when this guy was possibly giving her the signal. He had an earpiece in his ear the whole time, and she had her phone with her really close the whole time in the park. So the one who organized the whole thing got away with it, just to let everybody know. Because I made this clear to the police the next day or the following 2 days later when I could finally walk and function again. I could only see out of one eye, so driving was really hard there. But when I finally got to the police station and told them, they made of it like light, like nothing. How that's a civil matter. I'm like, how is it a civil matter if somebody attacks you, assaults you, and it's your ex that organized it and was there to help orchestrate it, and you let him go out of the park? What? He could walk down the street and beat up somebody else. That's how it works around here, apparently. Or that's how it works when you look like this. But that was February this year, right? So I leave Switzerland. Every time I have to leave there, I have to drive 2 hours to the airport with my mind and my heart in the rearview mirror. It's a hard feeling driving away from her. Hard, hard feeling. Living away from her. Always thinking in a different time zone what she's doing, sleeping, playing, eating. So March, pandemic hits the United States, the world is gone on shutdown, blah blah blah. Okay. CPS now is closed. They're the ones who are organizing this once per month, or I should say every 4 to 6 weeks. Oh yeah, it was supposed to be 2 times a week. Now it's happening every 4 to 6 weeks for 2020. I keep seeing my daughter lesser and lesser every year with their intervention by their laws. And I saw Cassandra in March, and since March, CPS has not organized any visits, Skype contact between my daughter and I. Since March, last time she was at the CPS office and saw her on Skype, a lot has transpired. There was no functioning international all over the world. Everything's been on lockdown. March, April, May. CPS reopened in May, and since May, they didn't decide to contact me, call me, say, hey, you know what? Let's organize another Skype visit between this father and daughter. They are bound for access rights by law, and they don't even follow their own laws. I mean, if you go on their website, if you check out them thoroughly, they have no transparency, no credentials. I mean, it's like they hired a bunch of kids and made them CPS workers. They're always half my age and trying to tell me how to be a dad. Come on, man, don't insult my intelligence. But these people who don't do their job to ensure access rights are always messing up the visits and messing up the Skype contacts. But before I get ahead of myself, April 3rd, 2020, February I got back, March passed, saw my daughter on Skype. April 8th, my attorney sends me an email with a 60-page PDF document. And I was thrown off a bit because, all of these pending charges and civil matters and criminal matters. And I'm like, getting so sick of this paperwork. It's been years now. I'm sending 1,000 emails every year. 60-page document to translate from French to English. So I did it for 4 hours one night. In a nutshell, she got convicted of defamation of character for lying to CPS. For every single CPS report that they ever made, it had fraudulent, misleading information in it from the mother. She was doing drugs, she told them she wasn't. There was some other things that she was doing, and she told them she wasn't. And it was proved by the criminal conviction. Defamation of character for lying to CPS. She got the charge for me stealing Lucy was dismissed because I proved Lucy is mine, and she couldn't prove that she didn't give Lucy to me, or she didn't have any paperwork that proves that she owns Lucy. Lucy came home. The other charge was for drug use in a park with my daughter. The other charge was for the officer said something about in the details that they saw her exchange something with somebody, and when they came up on her to search her, they found a joint or something equivalent to a joint, and she got charged there with drug dealing. So drug dealing, drug using, defamation of character, lying to CPS, and there was a total of 7. Shoplifting. She took my daughter on shoplifting sprees to 4 major department stores in Freiburg in the year of 2018. Guess who the accomplice was? She had a partner in 2018 when her and her boyfriend was stealing from expensive stores with nice handbags and stuff, and using my daughter's stroller as an aid. Well, nobody goes into a department store with a stroller without the kid. So my daughter got taken along for little shoplifting sprees in 2018, with the accomplice being the same guy that attacked me in the park in February this year. February, I get attacked. March, April, I find out that since 2018, the two of them have a reputation of being partners in crime. I brought this to the attention of my lawyer and the prosecutor in Freiburg, and nobody's done anything. There's this documented black and white proof now, and nobody's doing anything about this, about parental alienation, about taking the child along for theft, about using drugs with the child, about dealing with drugs, about there was 2 other charges, I forgot what they are. Somewhere in there or in the PDF document, but she got charged with 7 things that in the United States, first of all, you'd probably be going to jail for, some of them. And second of all, you're not going to be deemed a fit mother. You are inhibiting the development of the child's moral, ethical, physical development. In 2018, I reported to CPS how I found my daughter with lesions on scars and stuff all over her skin. They did nothing about it, medical neglect. They did nothing when I told them that my ex is feeding my child like a vegetarian. She's a baby. You don't feed children like a vegetarian. That's malnutrition. I brought that to their attention in 2018. They did nothing. Anyway, I'm jumping back and forth. I'm sorry. And this video has gone way beyond half an hour. But for this year, after these charges got passed, and I realized what kind of danger my daughter is in, what kind of environment, inevitably, this one is going to be going to jail. And anybody from this point forward who labels her a fit mother will be putting their reputation on the line to go to jail with her. April, the same month, she sends me an email, says she's gonna allow me to see Cassandra. Out of the blue. And I'm thinking, well, it took a global pandemic for this one to move and say, well, she's gonna show me my daughter. I said, all right, great. I got on the Skype call and everything. Um, it lasted an hour and a half, Cassandra, and I actually got free time with nobody interrupting CPS nor the mother. Her and I just draw, color, sing, do all kinds of stuff on Skype for an hour and a half. But it came with a little price. Check this out. She wanted three favors, my ex. First of all, to drop the $2,100 fine that the court imposed on her for lying against me because she got charged for defamation for accusing me of threats. So she got slammed with a fine. That was number one. Number two was, can you please cancel your trip in August 2020? I was already scheduled to go be with Cassandra today. She said if you can do that because I'll be moving in August and it's going to be kind of hard. So I said, shoot, okay. And the third thing was that she needed vitamins for Cassandra, which I always do send Flintstones chewable vitamins for Cassandra, and that's what she likes. And she had ran out. Um, so I prepared a box in April and I mailed all that stuff. I couldn't get no $2,000 fine dismissed because it apparently is not a fine, it's legal fees. I had to find out from my attorney. So if the court doesn't award the legal fees to my attorney, I don't have $2,000 to pay my lawyer. I mean, she's the one that brought the false charge against me and got slammed with the fine. Why am I going to pay my lawyer to fight off something that was falsely accused against me? I mean, come on now. So she didn't have her way technically. And apparently the vitamins weren't that important because the box is headed back to the United States right now. COVID-19 disrupted the whole postal. It took 3 months to get there. But as of last week, when I checked the tracking, the box is coming back. So the vitamins really weren't that important. She rejected the box, just like she did all of 2019. About $400 worth of postage and perishables and these things was wasted in 2019, denying the child gifts and presents from her dad. All of this is on record, and these people keep my child with this woman. Although the father is the one who wants the child to have equal rights and equal custody and equality to be able to see all her grandparents, her aunts, her uncles on both sides of the world. Her mother's the one holding her hostage, and they are aiding the mother. So it turns out that right after this April 3rd conviction of 7 different charges, her intentions were to flee Freiburg, as far as I'm seeing, in my opinion, because that's what it looked like. The timing was too impeccable. Soon as you get slammed with 7 charges, you have court order violations, you got to pay penalties, you got to pay fines, you got to do community service, you have to go to probation, and there's a possible jail time if you don't do all that, right? She moves in May instead of August, which is another lie got me to cancel my trip in August, but ends up moving in May, actually. As right after the month, right after all these charges got passed, she up and moved out of Freiburg and moved to a whole different state and did not inform anybody in Freiburg, CPS, or anything that she was moving until a week after the fact that she up and relocated to a whole different state and jurisdiction. Now, since May, June, sorry, the end of May, which is the entire month of June and the entire month of July, there has been a transfer of this case from the CPS and the Justice of Peace, the tribunal in Freiburg to the new state. Yes, it took them 1.5 months to transfer a case 1.5 hours down the road. So now that I'm within the past 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, August 2020, I've been sending emails to Miss Rodrigari, who is the new curator, who's supposed to organize Skype contacts. She made a schedule that Cassandra is to see her dad on July 27th. Let me make sure. Yeah, on July 27th and on July 30th. Her mother did not bring her to the curator's office for her to see her dad. It turns out that my attorney, my ex's attorney, and the curator are all on a 2 week vacation simultaneously for the last 2 weeks. And everybody should be back from vacation tomorrow. Well, I haven't seen my daughter in months, and today's her birthday. And the curator apparently was trying to make arrangements so I could see my daughter twice per week as per original court order. And my ex had a problem with it and didn't show up at all. And now I'm waiting for them to come back from vacation to see what they're going to do about it. Because it's again a clear violation of court order. It's a clear violation of access rights. It's a clear violation of the child's rights, according to the UN laws. So I'm making this video and I think I should conclude it now, an hour, an hour later, to let everybody know that I'm a father that's fighting just for equal rights. But as of this year, those equal rights would be an injustice to my daughter. Because after April 3rd, and those convictions got passed, they're no longer allegations from the father. They're no longer suspicions from this lunatic father, as how they like to make me look over there every time I go show up, of a man that just wants to see his child, right? It's now a conviction record. It's in black and white, 60 pages worth of details of how this woman with this reputation, this criminal record, is holding custody of an innocent life, while the father is over there and can't see his child. I mean, forget about the criminal violations. There was already been an access rights violation from the beginning. All right, I'm going off again, but I'll conclude this video with saying happy birthday, Cassandra. Daddy loves you and daddy's fighting for you. And we're gonna get you home because you don't deserve to be treated like this. You deserve a lot more in this life and in this world. And my daughter is a United States citizen. I'll let everybody know. And she's not getting her rights to visit her grandmother in New York City, her grandfather, aunts, uncles. She got family in Florida, all over the United States, England, Australia, Amsterdam, Canada, and she's being cut off from all these people. So if you're a parent, or if you just grew up without one parent, you might be able to understand. But I'm not giving up on my daughter, and I'm asking everybody out there to help me because the system in Switzerland, the judges, they're not giving us our equal rights. And if there's anybody out there that can help, I'm asking you, call me. Call me. This is my number, 718-685-4567. It's a New York number, so if you're calling me for internationally or Switzerland or something, you'd have to dial international codes. This is my email address, WACATZ1 @AOL.com. If you have any help that you could provide, please feel free to email or call me. But I'm not going to rest until I can bring my daughter home. And there is a hearing scheduled in October this year uh, to discuss all of this. And the petition that I've made that has now over 500 signatures is what I will be presenting to the court and letting them know that this is what we want, basically. And these are all the people that are involved. And if they don't, I'm going to stop fighting this system from inside. It's useless. I'm going to expose them to the media because the public, the general public, needs to know what's going on in Switzerland and what's going on with child rights and fathers' rights and access rights. They need to know what's going on in Switzerland. And I'm not going to let it go until I bring my daughter home. I'm not asking for 50-50 custody anymore. I'm asking for 100% custody with shared parental authority. A mother can still have a say in her life. And my child will be exposed to both sides of her culture and her family. I'm not going to be the parental alienator. I'm not going to be the terrorist that holds her hostage. Cassandra. Thank you all.